There, what brings you in today?
I don't know. I'm just having a little bit of trouble dealing with my criminal history, and trying to stay on the right path. But it gets kind of overwhelming. I really want to be, a good, productive member of society, but at the same time, I got this background that nobody will overlook, so it kind of makes it like, well, what, do I go back to what I know? I mean, you can only work for $5, $6, $7 an hour for so long, and it's really frustrating. It's causing some anger issues to resurface and some depression to resurface, and I don't want to fall back,
It's really getting in the way of you becoming who you want to be.
Yes, it is.
So what about your criminal record is blocking you from getting where you want to be?
I don't know what about it is.
There's your record has a conviction?
Yeah, it has a felony conviction on it.
Okay. There's the big trouble. Yeah.
It is. I hadn't anticipated that it would have been, so at the time it was just like, okay, cool, I'm not going to jail. And now it's like, okay, so this is more like a life sentence than it was a 4-year sentence that they were offering. I mean, I think it would have been bad either way, but I hadn't anticipated that this was going to be this difficult, especially since I went back to school and got a degree and actually want to do some corporate level or professional type work.
So when you put in applications or anything like that, the felony conviction, whether you know it or not, seems to knock you out of the ballpark. You're not even considered as an applicant.
No, I'm not. In situations where I don't know about it, I don't know about it. I mean, if I'm not considered because of that, I probably, that sucks too, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't get callbacks a lot because of that issue, I'm sure. The ones that really kill are kind of just, making me so angry and, kind of spilling over into the rest of my life are the ones that I get face to face, especially after a really good interview. And, most of the times I interview extremely well, and it's, I get the vibe that the job is offered almost halfway through the interview because, they start telling me about what I'll be doing and what I'll be getting, and then, when it comes to sign on the paperwork, and I believe in honesty, so I tell them, hey, look, this is what you're going to find, and try to explain. It's almost like night and day, black and white. It just stops right there. I'm sorry, I can't really do much for you. You have to go, and it's...
So do you put out there about the felony conviction before you even go for the interview?
Oh, no, I mean, there's different situations. Sometimes they ask, and, I'll say something like, we'll discuss at interview. Sometimes there's situations where if I probably put that, I don't get a call back, and those situations I don't know about. But there are also times where I get an interview through, some sort of connection or something, or like a buddy of mine or a family member will send me on an interview. I don't have to fill out an application for that. They just usually, give you the interview, and at the interview...
Seems like it's a done deal.
Yeah, it seems like it's a done deal. You just have to go through the motion of having the interview, and then when I go through the interview and it goes well, and they're like, okay, well, I think we could do something, and then here, sign this, sign that, and the other thing. And it's like, but we just had a great, I mean, I qualify. Like, what does that have to, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, what does that have to do with anything? Now, especially because, the type of conviction, it wasn't a violent conviction. It's not like I'm a danger to the staff around me. It's not like it's a theft type of thing. It was, it was a possession, what I mean? And
so you didn't hurt anybody.
No,
Didn't hurt anything. right?
It's
Just
really
had a pro-
frustrating
Yeah.
because it's almost like I don't want to give up, but it's like I'm not given any other choice, you know.
Yeah. Because you're, especially with going back to school and having done all that footwork and stuff, I mean, you really have something to offer somebody.
Yeah.
And at the time, the big crisis was actually prison and all the crisis around the arrest, and you know, it's like you're a leper in a leper colony.
Mhm.
Um, have there been any times when you've started the interview with that conversation so that you don't even have to go through the whole thing and then get rejected?
Not that I can think of, no. I think
What do you think would happen if you did that?
probably get booted out right away.
Hmm.
You know,
Would that
Oh.
be, what would that be like versus getting through this great interview, knowing you're good for the job and all that kind of stuff, and then they boot you?
well, it sucks either way, you know. I
Mhm.
mean, it's I mean, the lesser of two evils, is that what we're getting at? You
Mhm.
know, I mean, if it's going to make things more efficient, like as if you're what you're trying to say is if that's something that I could do, and then if they get past it, then now I know that there's an actual intention by the hiring people to hire me.
Right. If that's their deal breaker, and you both know it from the very beginning, I'm wondering if then really the interview is really something else. I mean, whether or not you get the job would truly be based on the interview and not your criminal record.
Yeah, I think as far as maybe efficiency, you know, weeding out the things, not wasting my time, you know, but I have to tell you something. A lot of the people that don't care about that type of thing
Mm-hmm.
are not the sort of jobs that I really want to be doing, you know. I mean, I don't know.
It's not like
really
you're
frustrating.
working for the government or for a bank or, you know, the FBI, where those are not the things you're applying for. They're jobs where you would wonder why a nonviolent felony would even
Be an
bother.
issue.
Right.
Right, and then the other thing is anybody that I might tell that to
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't care
Mhm.
are probably not jobs that, you know, are worth going to get the interview.
Mm-hmm. You didn't go to college for that.
Right.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If I'm going to work at a moving company and I tell them off the bat, or, you know, out from the gate, I tell them I have a felony conviction just so you know before the interview, and they don't really mind. I mean, that's great, you know, but at the same time, I'm not looking to be a mover or
Mhm.
a burger flipper or something like that.
Mhm.
Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I feel like I have a little bit more to offer,
Mhm.
you know, and I don't know. It's like being caught between a rock and a hard place.
Mhm. Well, what have you looked into about, you know, advocacy in that area or expungement or anything like that?
I have done, and my eyes have, you know, just become like mush after all the reading I've done on this situation.
What did you find out?
I found out that I don't have the type of felony that's expungible. I don't even have the type that's sealable. I have apparently the type that has to go on the governor's desk next to death row, you know, inmates and candidates for a governor's pardon. That's what it all boils down to, is that I have a class 1 felony
Uh-huh.
that needs to be, if any, you know, options. The only option I have is for governor's clemency, and I can't figure out why, because it's. I mean, maybe there's a loophole somewhere. I don't know.
I didn't know that, so I know a little bit about it, but not, yeah, so that's very interesting. What about advocacy groups?
I've looked into I've looked into a few groups that are supposedly helping convicted felons get work.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I mean, I think what I saw was a whole bunch of, dead-end jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I saw was it was very politically charged. I didn't think that I was, allowed to kind of get an interview right away with one of those counselors that they offer. It just didn't seem like a type of place that was willing to help, and I saw that there was a lot of, I wouldn't say racism, but I would say a little bit of racial favor, I suppose. And I found it really hard to get in and get an interview with a counselor to match me up with a job. I think that those types of groups are cool if they work. I just haven't had any luck with it working through that group.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else out there.
Mm-hmm. So you're Middle Eastern, so you wonder, I bet you've had experiences where you really have experienced some absolute racism and prejudice because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you walk into these places and they might just be almost storefront type places. And the job market is terrible.
Right. There's a lot stacked up against me. Let's just put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
what do you have going for you?
Well, I'm able to carry a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, I would imagine that maybe I strike up conversation with the right person that would probably want to hire me regardless of that sort of thing. I think that at this point in time, that it doesn't really matter what degree you have. I don't believe that it matters where you went to school. I think it's all about who you know. We live in a very politically charged city, and I think that even if we didn't live in a politically charged city, at this point, jobs are so scarce that people who know people are the ones that are ending up at work, getting jobs. And I think that if I continue to, go to school and, get time from that felony, so it's been 7 years now, and
It's a long time.
yeah, and at some point I probably don't even have to report it, and I have that going for me. It's been 7 years. I have the fact that I'm, good at interaction with people. That's good, I've been clean from that sort of lifestyle for that long, so that's up for me. That's good.
And you can prove that and document that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of folks can't. So,
Right.
yeah. And you've been going to school. I mean, all your movement is in this really positive, highly motivated way, and I think your thoughts and ideas about the fact that one day a conversation you'll strike up with somebody, and it will happen to be with somebody who works for a company that perhaps does not have a policy against hiring people with felony convictions.
Yeah.
It's
well,
individual.
That's my hope. Yeah, that's my hope.
It is individual.
It is. It should be.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
There's no, I don't think, a state or federal law that says.
No, it isn't an individual, but you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing is.
Right person, right company.
Right.
We're looking for here. Yeah.
Right. The thing is, after the 9/11 attacks, a lot of companies have blindly implemented, those types of situations, and there isn't at this point. I mean, I don't think at this point there is no real surefire way to find out what those reports are, accurate or not. I mean, there's a lot of situations where people's reports are not even accurate about their criminal background. I think that blindly people have implemented those types of measures, and they don't have any efficiency with them because they don't, I mean, everybody is offering background checks now and stuff like that, and that's one of the things that I'm afraid of, is that people are implementing all these security measures, but they don't really know if the reports are even accurate, you know.
So I wonder what it would be like if you ran your own background check and got the report to see what's
I have
on
one.
there. Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. I have
Uh-huh.
one, and
Good for you doing that.
right.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know. I'm just, I guess,
Discouraged.
really-
Discouraged, yeah.
I'm really here because I think it's a very dangerous area for me when I'm discouraged because,
Mhm.
you know, despite all the good things that I have going for me, the only thing that's loud and clear are the things that I don't have going for me. If that
Mhm.
makes any sense.
It does, and yet it seems to me, just in this time we've been talking together, that you do have a sense that a lot of it has to do with timing, luck, who you know, and being able to have that conversation where you know that you can sell yourself and your skills and your competencies. And the fact that you've overcome so many things, like a substance abuse problem, and have been, you know, a good, upstanding citizen all this time. To me, if I were an employer, you know, I would be impressed with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so what about, I know I had a client that told me a couple of things. He was doing some work on this. If you'd be interested, I could tell you what he shared with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. He found the most valid information on blogs done by felons.
Oh, okay.
They are your experts.
Very interesting.
And they actually said much what you have said, they said, but they also talked about which places and companies they did find were open. For instance, family-owned businesses just tend to, if they can...
Yeah, again, it's like who you know, right?
Right.
I know
Or start your own business. That was another thing that I thought was really...
Yeah, well, I think that's what I got. That's what I have doing. That's what I'm sort of involved with now. Is like, you know, I'm still continuing to go to school, but I'm also starting work for myself. You know, it's not, you know, Fortune 500 company or anything, but I do have a little bit of income coming in from that. You know, you
So
know,
being
it all comes together.
being an entrepreneur fits for you.
You know what? Actually, one of the things that I read is that's one of the things you got to do is just start your own business. You know what I mean? You don't have to report to anybody. I mean, obviously, I can't work with unless I get a waiver. I can't work with, like, I think the law says I can't work with kids or like hazmat stuff, like truck driving and stuff like that. But that doesn't matter to me. You know I'm trying to look at the things that I can do.
Well, that, you know, now that's a really different way of looking at it than how you were looking at it. What you can do versus what's getting in your way that, you know, you can't do.
Right.
So, what are you starting? What's this business? If you don't have to tell me if you don't want. I know it's on the up and up, but you don't have to tell me.
No,
if you
it's
don't want.
like party planning, event, you know, like wedding planning. Not like a wedding planner, but
You'd
like,
be so good at that.
like, you know, like corporate events when they have, you know, like an event. You know, they need chauffeured transportation, limos. They need that type of thing. I'm involved in the planning of the transportation from airports, hotel arrangements, booking of, you know, the rooms. It's just, I guess, it's just an event planner, but it's not through any sort of corporate company. It's just
You would be the corporate company.
yeah. I'm trying to get.
CEO.
Yeah. I don't know about that. You know.
So, yeah, I've heard that in recessions, those are often the best opportunities for people to start their own business is to um, see an area where you see a need, go in and fill it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my only, I know it's not my only,
One.
but it's a good opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
kind of work for myself. I would love to just be able to work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You're comfortable with that.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am comfortable with it, and I do well. I
Mm-hmm.
do well at you know, the few opportunities I've had to organize something like that. It's okay. You know. At least I'm still going to school, though. You know, I'm
I
almost
know,
done with
that's
that.
fantastic.
You know,
It
and,
is.
I don't want to act out. You know, I mean, I'm. You know, I think I have.
Acting out would be what?
Well, you know, I don't know. Going back to a lifestyle of, you know, crime or using or, you know, just destructive behavior, any
Okay,
sort of destructive
gotcha.
behavior.
All right.
I don't want to be destructive. I want to be productive, you know,
Like you are now.
like I am now. But it's starting to get, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't have come in here if things were just peachy keen. You know what I mean? It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting sick of, you know, rejection. And
Mhm.
it's like almost, it makes me think, like, why am I even going to school? You know, should I
Mhm.
just drop out and just, you know, get jobs that are, you know, I mean, and that's not a viable option for me either. You know,
Mhm.
I don't. I want to make sure that I'm centered here so that I can go out there and do the best I can with
Mhm.
maintaining composure and trying to get ahead. You know,
Mhm.
but if I'm not okay here, you know, I don't think that I don't stand a chance. You know.
So the law about felony convictions is something that you don't have any control over. I mean, nobody does. So, you know, and I'm thinking about how you were talking about getting all the way through the interview and then getting rejected, you know, versus being upfront about it and even on the telephone to see whether it's a deal breaker or not, because it sounds like it's so much harder to have that good interview and walk out of there, know you've done well, and then get turned down.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently had one of those where I was going to be offered. I think he was. I'm pretty sure he was offering a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an interview given to me by my brother, you know, who
Mm-hmm.
knew the guy. And it went great until he gave me the paperwork to sign
Mm-hmm.
for a background check. And I said, well, you know, I'll sign it, but I just want to let you know that this is what you're going to find. So.
And your brother didn't know that when he gave you the lead on the job, that there was a background check involved?
No, he did. He said, you know, don't say anything until, you know, I don't know if, I know what he said. I think he said that he's not sure if they do.
Okay.
He said just
There
go
you
in
go.
and give it a shot anyway.
Okay,
You
yeah.
know, and I figured I'd just give it a shot anyway. But I think I think to spare myself some frustration and further agony,
Mm-hmm.
I think that I might try that. I think I might try, you know, from now on, you know, finding like a tactful way of asking. You know, I don't want to be blunt about it and be like, you know, do you hire criminals or anything?
You're
But,
not a criminal.
I'm a former criminal.
That's
apparently.
right. You're a rehabilitated,
Yeah.
8+ shining new guy.
Right. So I know that I'm a new guy, but they don't. You know, so I think society's a lot less forgiving
Oh, I think so
than
too.
individuals.
Yeah.
And so I think I think that's a really good idea, is to kind of like weed out.
Mhm.
You know, but how do you say that? You know, how do you possibly tell somebody? You know, how do you get that out there before you go in?
I guess I would just have a tendency to say it.
Hmm.
I'm a recovering person, and back in my former life, I have a felony conviction, and before we go any further, I don't want to waste your time. Would that be a problem in even getting the interview? What would you think about saying something like that?
seems sort of forward, but I think that it's probably better if I do tell them, so I don't waste my time and hope. Yeah, I think I'm going to try that from now on.
Okay. I mean, I'd be happy if you want to work on a few, things to write down that sound comfy and fit, how you talk and your use of words and stuff. Because I also think, interviewing is a good skill, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. And you've been getting a lot of practice at it, so that's been useful too. I mean, even though you get turned down, that feels terrible. I bet you with every single one get better at it.
Yeah, I mean, the interview process itself? No, I don't think I ever... Yeah, no, I mean, I don't believe that I have a problem with the actual interview process.
I bet you're even better now.
Yeah.
You got lots of practice.
Been a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Well, lastly, just getting back to another source, that same client was an advocacy group called the John Howard Society. I don't know if you've ever...
I have heard of it. I haven't looked into it yet, but...
They have a lot of really good stuff on there about this, because they're trying to change the laws about that, because they are so prejudicial. They really are. And I would check with the ACLU too. I mean, just as I don't know much. Now I'm very curious and I want to find out about it myself. But yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've done some research on it for school, and it turns out it's a big cause of the recidivism rate. As far as people going back to what they know, and it's there is prejudicial motivation, and there is.
You're not allowed to vote.
I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed to vote.
I don't think that. I think ignorance is what really.
That shocked me when I found that out.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. Do you know how many millions of people? And when you think about that racially,
Yeah. Exactly. No, I know. There's just a lot of bullshit.
That's a great word for it. There. Yeah. So.
Figure out what to throw that in there.
Yeah. So maybe if you wanted to, and this is really up to you, you could check out the blogs. I can see if I can track them down and stuff in the John Howard Society, and I'd be really interested if you want to get together to see what you have found out.
Yeah, like I said, I want to make sure I come back and kind of get my, my overall mental health. I wouldn't say stable, because I'm not that unstable.
But this has affected it.
It is affected it.
Rejection.
Yeah, rejection.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that I'm okay. So
Yeah.
I will be back, and we can discuss it further if you have any information, and I'll share whatever I've got.
I'll do some checking around for you. I will.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the suggestions.
Oh, you are welcome. Thanks for being so open with me. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yay.
Very good.